Weigh-in results for UFC 280 are in. UFC 280 is ticking ever so closer, and MMA Gold News is here, with the weigh-in results as tomorrow's bouts become official. There's a triple header headed to Abu Dhabi on Saturday, October 22, 2022, including 2 title fights and the Sugar Show. In the main event, Charles Oliveira faces Islam Makhachev for the vacant lightweight strap, and in the co-main event, UFC bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling will defend against former 2-time title holder TJ Dillashaw. Plus, there will be another can't-miss bantamweight bout prior to that, when #1 ranked former champion Petr Yan takes on Sean O'Malley. There was one fight cancellation, with the preliminary bout between Zubaira Tukhugov and Lucas Almeida being scrapped due to what the UFC reported to be weight-cutting issues. Additionally, Katlyn Chookagian missed the flyweight limit by 1.5 pounds, and as a result, will forfeit 20% of her purse to Manon Fiorot, but the bout will proceed as scheduled. Aside from that, it's all good news, as Charles Oliveira and the rest of the UFC 280 lineup were able to successfully make weight. That means both title fights will take place without a hitch or asterisk, as will the highly anticipated bantamweight bout between Petr Yan and Sean O'Malley, and the catalog of other bangers in store for fight fans this weekend. Are you excited to watch one of the greatest cards in UFC history? We surely are. Let us know your opinion in the comments below. UFC champ Charles Oliveira gave his stipulations for a potential fight with 145-pound title holder Alexander Volkanovski. UFC featherweight champion and current top pound-for-pound fighter Alexander Volkanovski has been open about a possible jump to 155 pounds. He even made weight and is officially the backup for this weekend's UFC 280 headliner between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev, and expects the next 155-pound title shot for himself. Makhachev isn't so fond of the idea of fighting a shorter opponent. Bronze, however, is willing to take the challenge, but on his terms, as he said during the UFC 280 Media Day.
First of all, we're going to focus on what's going to happen here on this fight particularly. My timing is to actually fight in Brazil afterwards, regardless. If we're going to make this happen with Charles against Volkanovski, we're going to have it 2 ways. We're going to fight at 70, and then we're going to fight 66 at the end of the year. So we're going to fight in 2 weight divisions.
Do you think fighting at 145 is a long shot for Oliveira, or could he still make it happen? Let us know what you think. Sterling is surprised by Dana White's praise for self-admitted cheater TJ Dillashaw. Dana White recently made some comments on how TJ Dillashaw handled his past suspension due to PED use.
But I think that, he made a mistake and he handled it like a man. I tell you what, we've had a lot of guys throughout the history of this company who have been busted for steroids and handled it the exact opposite way. They handled it not like men. And Dillashaw did. He took it on the chin, and you got to respect him for that.
And of course, Aljamain Sterling can't wrap his head around the boss comments, which he claims were weird and odd. Here's what he had to say about it.
Very strange, man. Dana's an interesting cat, man. I like Dana a lot, but some of the things I just have to wonder, like his reasoning and his rationale. Like, you're praising the guy who got caught and saying that he did it the right way and did it like a man. What is man? Like, what about that was manly? The guy got caught. He didn't come clean, Dana.
Do you feel Dana White's comments were out of order? Comment your opinion down below. Khabib recalls what Makhachev was like during childhood. Islam Makhachev is heading into the biggest fight of his career at UFC 280 with the former UFC lightweight champion by his corner. The world knows that these two are close, but now Nurmagomedov explains their early days of knowing each other. In an interview with UFC Russia, Nurmagomedov talked about their school days and how he was perhaps a better student than his friend back in the day. I've known Islam since childhood. He's 3 years younger than me. We went to school together. We had a wushu gym in our yard. He was 10 or 11 at the time. He was always competitive and hated losing. Whatever martial art he competed in, he was successful, said the Eagle. Makhachev and the Eagle are so similar that people sometimes refer to Islam as the next Khabib. He will have his first opportunity to show this if he can defeat Oliveira at UFC 280 on October 22nd. Chael Sonnen says that Khabib is not promoting Oliveira versus Makhachev correctly. Speaking on his podcast, Beyond the Fight, Chael Sonnen shared that he believes Khabib Nurmagomedov should be building up the #1 ranked lightweight, rather than pointing out his losses.
This fight can only go two ways for Islam. He wins or he does not win. If he was to get beat, if he was to get submitted, the narrative that he's in there with the absolute greatest submission artist that the sport and the division has ever seen would be very helpful.
He then opened up on whether Makhachev has shown Khabib that he is fully confident if the fight ends up on the ground.
You're still trying to convince your pupil. If every word you say as a mentor is being clung to, do you have a pupil in your presence who is not yet convinced, does not yet have the confidence that, in this case, I can go to the ground, not be in trouble, and in fact succeed?
O'Malley was offered a Camel in Abu Dhabi on one condition. During a recent interview with the Tobin and Leroy Show on Odyssey's AAM 560 Sports, O'Malley explained how one fan in Abu Dhabi took fandom to a new level.
Yeah, Sugar Show's worldwide. They love me over here. Some guy tried to trade me as Camel for some fight lessons, so Sugar Show's worldwide. He was dead ass serious, and I think it was a very nice Camel, but I had to turn it down.
The UFC returns to Abu Dhabi this weekend for the first time since UFC 267 last October. A year later, O'Malley is featured on one of the biggest cards of 2022 against his toughest adversary to date. Dagestanis, such as Islam Makhachev, are the biggest fan favorites in Abu Dhabi this weekend, though they probably haven't been offered the bribe that O'Malley was given this week. Would you accept this Camel bribe if you were Sean O'Malley? Makhachev explains which area he differs from Khabib. Islam Makhachev has spoken about how he and the man he is constantly measured against are different. Makhachev competes for the lightweight gold that Khabib held during his career so successfully at UFC 280 against Charles Oliveira. Nurmagomedov is now a coach to the men he once called teammates and will undoubtedly be in the corner of Makhachev come October 22nd. Islam feels he is the heir to the throne in the cage, but has hinted at another probable route for him, post-fighting. He had this to say speaking to Brett Okamoto.
About this, I'm not like Khabib. He loved this. Oh, like he's still going everywhere. Like every fight, he come to and he corner for all fighters from our gym, and he like every day he fly some other country. And I just want to when I retired, spend more time with family, with my friends, because last almost 10 years I'm always in the camp or US or some other country, but after the career I want to spend more time in the city and with my family.
Michael Chandler believes Jon Jones took himself out of GOAT talk with drug tests. During an appearance on the PBD podcast hosted by Patrick Bet David, Chandler was asked for his take on a polarizing debate in the sport: who holds GOAT status? While he appeared to suggest that Jones' dominance would on paper lend itself to top spot, the number 5 ranked UFC lightweight believes that the former light heavyweight king's past drug failures automatically exclude him from contention. This is his reply after receiving the question of who is the UFC GOAT.
This one's hard because I am very conflicted on Jon Jones because of the failed drug tests. I feel like once you've failed a drug test, you somewhat pull yourself out of the GOAT talk. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Jon Jones is the most dominant fighter of all time, with the asterisk of he has failed some drug tests.
Chandler has long campaigned for an ultra-clean sport and recently praised USADA for its work in light of troubling reports surrounding Conor McGregor's test-free year. With that in mind, it's perhaps unsurprising how much importance Chandler places on a drug-free career when considering his GOAT. Who do you think is the UFC GOAT? That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.